Undefeated season continues tomorrow when the Cougars face the University of Utah in Salt Lake City.
I'm super excited. This has been a highly anticipated game, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Rachel Leifson expects a win, but Nathan Lund says the Cougars will only get it if they play consistently through all four quarters.
They just need to play their second halves like they play their first halves.
Kickoff is at 8:15, and you can hear KSL News Radio's pregame coverage starting at noon. The ski season is here. Solitude will be one of the first resorts to open. The resort announced their opening yesterday, joining Brian Head. They're technically opening first because their start time was 9 a.m. compared to Brian Head's 10 a.m. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 3 people have been charged in an alleged plot to assassinate President-elect Trump, a plot linked to Iran. The court document shows the men appear to have been hired by someone they met in prison. Farhad Shakari, charged with murder for hire and other offenses. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day now, 322 points. The NASDAQ is up 22 right now. And it's going to be kind of chilly today and not too warm for the game tomorrow either. That's next. KSL News Time 101.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Food brings people together, but many families don't know where their next meal is coming from. In Utah, 317,000 people, many of whom are children, are struggling with food insecurity. And Macy's is continuing the tradition of bringing hope to families in need. You can help provide hope by donating to Macy's Harvest of Hope Drive, now through November 30th. All donations will be donated to a local food bank to serve families in our communities. Purchase an icon for any amount or a prepackaged bag of food with items that food pantries need most at any Macy's store or online at Macys.com. Look for items tagged with the Harvest of Hope icon throughout the store. A portion of sales from those items will also be donated to local food pantries. Together, we can make a difference in our communities and provide hope to families and children facing food insecurity. Visit Macys.com or your local Macy's grocery store to learn more.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
We are looking so much better on northbound I-15 coming around the point of the mountain into Bluffdale and Draper. We still have what's left of the earlier crash about a mile prior to the Bangerter Highway exit over to the right. A little bit of busy traffic in that immediate area, but no major slowdowns. Salt Lake City PD working on clearing an accident downtown at State Street and 4th South. This holiday season, Murdoch Hyundai is grateful for you. Celebrate during the Murdoch Hyundai Season of Giving sales event. Receive 0% for 4 years on the Elantra, Sonata, Tucson, or Santa Fe. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Chilly again today with a high of 42. Tomorrow will reach 53, high of 61 expected on Monday. Right now, 46 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. It is great to be with you today for the last day. I'm Boyd Matheson, and as we begin the show, like we always begin the show, we want you to think again about what you think you know. We want to get underneath the headlines, and so let's start our last show with a focus on what's just underneath the headlines from the 2024 election cycle. Let's begin.
Think you know the news of the day? Think again with Boyd Matheson on KSL News Radio.
So as we march our way through the final show today, stick around with us. We're going to have some of our favorite guests are going to join us and continue to teach us. You know, the reason I do this show is so that I can learn, and so I have invited some of our favorite friends and colleagues and experts to join us today to teach us one last thing. I got my pen and paper ready. I hope you do as well. That's why we do this show. But I want to start today, obviously coming out the back end of a very tumultuous 2024 election cycle. There are some lessons to be learned, some things underneath the headline. I want to just reinforce once again that the first Tuesday of November came and it went. And then the first Wednesday of November also came. And everyone got up and went to work and continued to make a difference. And that's why we can have great confidence, regardless of whether you're feeling super optimistic and happy about some of the people you voted for that won election, or whether you're feeling a little sad that maybe someone you voted for came up a little bit short, whether that's on the national level or the local level. There are lessons to be learned, and it's how we all march it forward together that actually matters most when we get to the end of it all. So I want to give you just a couple of underneath the headline takeaways from the 2024 election cycle, starting up at the presidential level. And I think one of the very interesting lessons is one that we've talked about before, and that is that money is not everything, and money certainly can't buy you an election, even if you have $1.6 billion of it in 107 days. I think that will be something that will be studied for a long time in election classes and political science courses on university campuses. Is Vice President Harris's campaign raised over $1.6 billion in less than 107 days, and yet it was not enough in the end. And I'll pair with that particular piece of learning another piece of learning that is equally important, and that is when voters get to the voting booth, endorsements, celebrity, famous people, business leaders, other politicians, that's not why people vote. Again, the Harris campaign had more star-studded galas and more star-studded rallies than have ever taken place in this country, and yet it was not enough in the end. And that's why I always say between those first 2 points that the money isn't everything, and often the money covers a multitude of other problems inside of a campaign organization. And I think that's clearly what took place with the Harris campaign. So much funds going through, so many big-time endorsements. If you can't win with people like Oprah Winfrey and Taylor Swift and some of the biggest names in all the different industries, it tells you you've got to get to the voters, the actual voters. And what are they actually feeling? And they're less worried about what a very rich and famous person has to say about why they should vote or who they should vote for. than they do what they're talking about around their kitchen table. And you go through the map. The blue wall crumbled. It disintegrated in Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. All of that just collapsed into the economics and the problems of inflation. And no star-studded rally, no matter who was doing the warm-up act before Vice President Harris spoke, it simply was not enough. So those are two big takeaways for me from this election cycle. Now, one that I know you're not thinking about today, and this is one that the Democrats should be very, very thankful for. And all of them, especially in the United States Senate, should be sending flowers and gift baskets to Joe Manchin from West Virginia and Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona. Why? Because those two senators refused to get rid of the Senate filibuster. Now, the Senate filibuster prevents it from just being like the House of Representatives, where just a majority wins and majority rules. It doesn't respect the rights of the minority party. And many of the Democrats, including Vice President Harris and Chuck Schumer, who is the majority leader, tried to eliminate and get rid of the filibuster so that they could pass the things that they wanted to pass with a simple majority. Why? Because they were in the majority. But Kyrsten Sinema, senator from Arizona, Joe Manchin, senator from West Virginia, both Democrats, said, nope, we're not going to vote for that. And now, in an instant, the Democrats are now the minority party in the United States Senate. And they have rights and they have possibilities to do things because there is still the Senate filibuster. It is an important thing to keep. It's always great to talk about it when you're the majority party and you're in power. But remember, someday you will be in the minority. And you'll really wish that it wasn't just a majority body, that it was really one that had representation and the voice of the minority having a place. And so I think that's one of those under the headline things that to me was super important, and the Democrats should be very thankful for two senators that are leaving the United States Senate but refuse to buckle and to give in to the popular idea of let's just get rid of the filibuster so that we can pass anything with a simple 50-vote majority. So that's, I think, a significant thing for the Democrats that they should be grateful for on this Friday. Also, I think it's interesting if you look at the Republican side of the aisle, we still do not know the exact balance of power in the House of Representatives. We don't know whether it will be a clean sweep for the Republicans in all three chambers from the executive branch, the Senate, and the House. The odds appear to be favoring the Republicans at the moment, but there are still a number of House races, particularly in California, that may swing that back. It's going to be super, super close, but the odds are the Republicans get the clean sweep. Still a chance that the Democrats might be able to eke that one out. And in a lot of these, both Democrats and Republicans have to recognize that they had opportunities to do much, much better. And in the cases when they didn't, it was because of the kinds of candidates that they chose. And if they chose those candidates that were loud, maybe grievance-filled, super populist, really good at social media, not many of those won. On the Republican side, it's really fascinating to me that you could have former president, now President-elect Trump, win Wisconsin, and yet down ballot, the Democrats did really well. That's astonishing to me. That you could have a Republican win in Wisconsin at the top for the presidency, and yet the Democrats won down ballot. That means people split their vote, and you had a number of people in Wisconsin, same in Michigan, and in Pennsylvania, where you can say, wow, people split the ticket and they voted for then candidate Donald Trump, and they voted for a Democrat in the United States Senate or in the House of Representatives. That is fascinating splitting of the tickets. There in those swing states. And that happened in other places, including North Carolina and Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, where, again, President-elect Trump exceeded expectation, and yet down ballot, Republicans didn't pull it off. So that's a fascinating thing. There'll be a lot of debate over what happened there and why. And so all of those things are to get us to think again about a lot of those top lines, again, it's not about just money. It's not just about endorsements. And there are important things in terms of the institution that really do matter when it comes to governing. And I would just close out this segment by taking a final think again look at the 2024 election cycle. And one, I will remind you once again, Wednesday morning always comes. We are a Wednesday morning country. It has always driven this place, and it will continue to as long as we, the people, continue to be determined that we have a shared project of forming a more perfect union. And so we have to learn to just get past that and to make sure we're always thinking again about what we think we know. And we're going to do that through the course of the program throughout the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock hours today. We're going to go to some of our favorite friends. I've got pen and paper ready to go because I'm going to do what I always do on this show, and that is I'm going to learn something new. And coming up next, we're going to do that with our good friend J.D. Tuchili. We'll talk about some of his takeaways from the 2024 cycle and what that means for the road ahead. We'll be right back.
Think again on Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson. From sun and near 60 this weekend.
And then a storm will get here late Monday into Tuesday.
To 47 and possible snow early next week.
Tuesday, cold front, rain, snow, showers.
Rely on KSL to forecast what's coming so you can keep moving.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hercules First Federal Credit Union has always been about growing stronger together. They've been in your community since 1946, and at Hercules, you're not just another number. You're not just a transaction to be had. You're a person. You're a relationship, and it's about growing stronger together. And right now, it's time to be thinking again about your mortgage and mortgage rates. Right now, they have competitive rates, lowest they've been in years. They have flexible mortgage options at Hercules, a variety of products from fixed to adjustable, FHA, VA. They even have options for those of you who might have a little less than perfect credit. Also, if you're a first-time home buyer, never a better time. They have specialized mortgage offerings with low down payment options to help bring home ownership within your reach, because it's all about you. You can find their locations in Taylorsville, Harriman, or Riverton. Or as always with our friends at Hercules Credit Union, you can always find them online at HerculesCU.com. That's HerculesCU.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
For the last 27 years, we've been honored to serve our community as the highest rated home medical supplier in Utah. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. Our commitment to exceptional customer service is at the heart of everything we do, and our team is always here to make sure you get the care and products you need. Whether it's oxygen solutions, CPAP supplies, or expert home safety advice, we do it all. As a Best in State winner for the last 14 years and highest rated on Google, Alpine Home Medical is not just a provider, we're a trusted partner in your healthcare journey. So swing by any of our 11 locations today and experience firsthand what makes Alpine Home Medical a 5-star experience. See us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the off-and-on football rivalry with BYU and Utah is on again this weekend. Students on both campuses are excited. Second, 3 people have been charged in a plot to assassinate President-elect Trump, a plot with reported links to Iran. And third, a couple of Utah ski resorts were anxious to get the season started today. 47 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Boyd Matheson divides rage from reason on Inside Sources.
Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. It's great to be with you today. As always, I am Boyd Matheson. As we come down the home stretch, final show today. Stick around for the entire 2 hours. We got a lot of people to talk to and a lot of things to get done before we're done. We've long turned to the great writer and thinker, our favorite JD, not the vice president-elect, but the original JD Tuccilli from Reason Magazine, to give us his thoughts on politics in America. And while everyone's still unpacking the 2024 election, we want to get underneath the hood a little bit in terms of what comes next and what does that look like moving forward. JD, of course, is contributing editor at Reason. You can always read his work at reason.com. And JD, welcome back to the show. Thanks for making time for us today. I always learn something new. I always think again about what I think I know after our conversations. And so let's start with Congress itself. Nobody trusts Congress. No surprise. And yet, here we are once again.
Well, yeah, this is amazing. I think Congress gets rock bottom trust ratings to the American people. But congressional candidates, well, actually, incumbent members of Congress, get reelected at this wild rate. And the fact is that the same party holds on to congressional seats. You mean at a rate that's generally over 90%. For the last decade, it's been over 90%. And then going back 60 years, the same party will hold on to a seat, through incumbencies, through changing candidates, at a rate of over 85%. Hasn't gone below that for the House of Representatives. And it's just a little bit lower for the Senate, going back for about 40 years. So you're really looking at almost a permanent body where the parties choose who's going to be the next candidate and who's going to take office, and then that's the done deal. So no matter how little the American people trust the members of Congress, they're going to keep on reelecting the same people and the same parties back into their seats.
Yeah, and I always call this the Dennis Rodman syndrome, that, everybody hated the basketball player Dennis Rodman. No one hated him more than Chicago Bulls. They hated his hair and his dirty antics and all of those wild shenanigans, and they hated him more than anything right up to the point he became their Dennis Rodman. And then, while they may not have liked all the things he did, they knew they were going to get 18 rebounds, 3 blocks, a few steals, and he was going to wreak havoc on the other team. And so is that kind of where we are, where people are saying, okay, I don't like everybody else, but, this is my evil, awful, horrible, so I'm going to keep him because I'm afraid of losing power or influence?
Oh, I think there's a huge amount of that going on there. And people will look at the body of Congress, and it doesn't do what they want it to do, and so they loathe the body. But a lot of people will like or at least tolerate their own representative. And, of course, you only have say over that one race. But there's more to it going on also. Congressional districts, people have gone out of the way to make them as politically homogenous as possible so that only one party really has a chance of getting reelected in there. The last time, the high point when you had significant turnover where, say, a congressional seat changed hands between the parties twice over a period of a decade was back in the 1920s to the early 30s. That was a long time ago. We're going back almost a century. So people now are they'll fume at the body, but they'll keep their own people in Congress. But a lot of this, there are ways that they do that. The parties, of course, control the process of drawing the congressional seats. And gerrymandering goes back to the early days of the Republic, where you draw these bizarre-looking congressional seats. The reason why is to make them safe for the party that controls this process and to kind of diffuse the voting power of the opposition among seats where they don't have a lot to say, or to minimize the number of seats they can capture.
Yeah.
More recently, though, Americans themselves have accelerated this process by moving among like-minded people. So they concentrate themselves in like-minded communities. And those are easy to keep homogenous because people have already chosen to make them that way.
Yeah.
So the American people are kind of accelerating what the parties were doing with gerrymandering, which is creating like-minded communities that are very likely to keep one party in power pretty much forever.
Yeah, and I want to unpack that one a little bit more. That was my aha moment and my think again moment from your piece today at Reason.com, was that Americans are self-sorting by politics more and more. Kind of unpack that and what the numbers are telling us in terms of where we're moving, what kinds of communities we're creating, which actually makes you almost don't even need to gerrymander anymore because we've self-selected into political neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, this phenomenon was first noticed in a big way by a writer named Bill Bishop, who wrote a book back in 2008 called The Big Sort, about how we're kind of all moving to where we're going to feel that we're among like-minded people. And he found that a lot of it wasn't just deliberately, I'm going to move to be with Republicans or I'm going to move to be with Democrats. It's that lifestyle was increasingly corresponding with a partisan identity. Urban rural neighborhoods, very Democratic, and people who want that are going to move in, and chances are they're going to be Democrats, they'll become more Democratic. Rural areas and small towns near forest, that's going to be Republican, and again, it's going to attract like-minded people who almost certainly are themselves going to be Republican. About 2 weeks ago, the New York Times looked at this phenomenon to see how it's progressing, and what they found is that they looked at 3.5 million people who moved since the 2020 presidential election. And across all these movers, they found that they were moving from neighborhoods basically two neighborhoods where they were going to be more, among people who are more like-minded in terms of their politics, and they changed their neighborhoods from starting in neighborhoods that were 31 percentage points apart in terms of their political affiliation, and they ended up in neighborhoods that were 38 points apart. So they're moving into places and making them more one, either red or blue. This is changing among states. I mean, you're finding that there's exoduses of Republicans from states that tend to be Democrat overall, and the vice versa for Democrats living in very conservative states. California's had a massive exodus of Republicans. I live in Arizona. They're coming to Arizona, Nevada, and Texas very heavily. Also Florida. We've had a net gain here. I didn't even throw this in my article. We've had a net gain here since 2020 of about 17,000 Republican votes. And chances are that's impacting the outcome of this election this year. So that's happening across the country. And so they're moving to states, but they're also moving into specific places in those states. And they're turning them very dark red or very dark blue.
Fascinating stuff. As always, I always learn something new. J.D. Cicilli, contributing editor at Reason. You can check out his piece at Reason.com. And J.D., thanks once again for all you've taught us, all the insight you've given us, and all the things you've challenged us to think again about. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much. Best wishes to you.
All right. Again, that's J.D. Cicilli from Reason.com. And that last point, that was my big aha. That was my wow moment today, is that we talk a lot about gerrymandering, and we should. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be things that are going to be difficult when it comes to those maps and drawing congressional districts, although that's a hard task for anybody because it's based on math. You have to get the numbers the right way. You can't just throw something up and then who are you disenfranchising? Who is it helping? And then the fact that we are self-sorting, this self-selection, that's the thing that actually worries me even more, that the districts have undergone a sorting that overwhelms any impact of gerrymandering. And these statistics that JD shared with us, that these people who moved between 2020 and 2024, Republicans chose neighborhoods that Donald Trump won by 19 points in 2020. And Democrats that moved, guess what? They moved into neighborhoods that Joe Biden won, also by 19 points. So they've become even more Democratic and even more Republican in those, and that has nothing to do with gerrymandering. That has to do with we the people self-sorting and selecting. That's worrisome to me. we need to think again about that. Because when we just get so deep into our own bubble, and then when we surround our bubble with another bubble, it gets really hard to have meaningful conversations about the issues that matter most, even some of the uncomfortable conversations that we've got to lean into. All right, we'll step aside for some bottom of the hour news. Scott Rasmussen is going to join us next, taking a look at what did we learn and what did we miss when it came to polling in the 2024 election cycle. Stick around. We'll be right back.
It's 1:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Kaysville city leaders now pushing back on the idea of using an old emissions building that the city has, or in the city, as a code blue homeless shelter for people to stay in on cold nights.
Kaysville City has done everything possible. I promise you, we have talked to everybody. We have talked to ourselves until we are almost out of the ability to speak about this, trying to come up with solutions.
Tammy Tran says while they do want to be part of an overall solution to help the homeless, they don't feel that Kaysville is the right location. The emissions building is owned by the county, meaning they won't have the final say. The county's also considering using a senior center in Clearfield, as well as the Valley View Golf Course in Layton. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Republicans will have control of the U.S. Senate after this election, but the majority in the House of Representatives is still up in the air. 218 is the magic number. Right now, 212 races have been called for the Republicans. Counting votes in California taking a lot of time because many residents there vote by mail. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up 307 points so far today, and the NASDAQ is up, but just barely, only about 5 points. And our KSL weather. Going to be a chilly game tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time 1:31.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Don't let cold season make you miserable. Try the quick, drug-free solution for nasal congestion, Navage. Navage uses gentle suction to flush out your sinuses with refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all winter long. And here's even better news. Navage is now available at select Costco locations in a great new value pack. It's everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local Costco today. Navage. Navage. Breathe easy.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports in 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The election won't fix our record-breaking national debt. Today's tax rates are at 40-year lows, so many experts agree taxes must go up. And if you have money saved in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k, this could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes. But if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies before December 31st, you could save a small fortune. Discover exactly how much you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions in Salt Lake City, with more than 7,000 clients served. Schedule your free tax analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
And we're back to a quiet drive on the Valley freeways. No accidents, no delays. That does include north and southbound I-15 between Ogden and Provo. Thinking about a new career? Become an electrician. Join IBEW Local 354 at an open house on Thursday, November 14th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Utah Electrical Training Alliance. Go to IBEW354.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Chilly again today with a high of 42. Tomorrow we'll get to 53, 61 the expected high on Monday. 47 degrees and sunny right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back. Final show on Inside Sources today here on KSL News Radio. It is great to be with you as we continue to unpack what happened in the 2024 election cycle. And throughout the program today, we're really going to our favorite friends of the show, our greatest experts, and those who provide insight, who challenge our thinking and get us to think again about what we think we know. And when it comes to polling, which, of course, many people were very curious about this election cycle, nobody got it more right than Scott Rasmussen, of course, president of RMG Research, also the Napolitan Institute. And Scott joins us on the line. Scott, welcome back to the show.
Well, boy, it's great to be back on the show. Honored to be a part of the final show.
Yeah, so let's get into the polling. You made the call that you felt that now President-elect Trump, then candidate and former President Trump, would come out on top. But you did it in an interesting way. You don't always look at just the horse race kinds of things. You leave that to other lesser people. You did this counter polling to get us into the narrative. And what were you seeing and what were you sensing that enabled you to say, you know what, it really feels like this is where the country is?
Well, Boyd, let's start with the fact that polling overall was very good this year. A lot of people like to take shots at pollsters, but the Real Clear Politics average showed the final horse race for the national popular vote was going to be a pure toss-up. And when all is said and done, it looks like President Trump will win the popular vote by about 1 point. So that was right on the money. And then there were polling in 7 states that we kept calling swing states. The first bit of good news for the polling industry, where there were no big surprises from other states that we had missed. And always in the polling, it showed those 4 southern states were were solider for Donald Trump than they were for Harris. The Midwestern states were more of a toss-up. But as I looked at that, and again, part of my sense was I looked at the data in the horse races, but also people's perceptions of the economy. And when we talk about the economy, we ask voters, how do you feel about your own personal finances? And the answer was not very good. Just 25% said their finances were getting better. 41% said worse. And even more dramatic and more, predictive, people in those 7 swing states were more negative, more pessimistic about their finances than anybody else. So I felt it was pretty safe to say Donald Trump had the edge because of the southern swing states. But, one of the things people forget, we talk about winning and losing states. We sometimes forget how close it is. Donald Trump won Wisconsin in 2016 by 20,000 votes out of 3 million. He won it he lost it in 2020 by 20,000 votes out of 3.4 million. So when you're talking about who's going to win a state like that, when it's that close, it's very difficult. That's why they were toss-ups. This year, he won by a massive 30,000 votes out of 3.4 million.
Oh, it is amazing. The numbers really are amazing and telling. One of the things that you have been really laser locked on over the course of the last year and a half is this group called the Elite 1%. Right. And that there's this disconnect between those and the everyday, what we call ordinary, but not ordinary, extraordinary Americans out there. Give us a little sense as you've watched that over the course of the last year or so, and where the Democrats may have missed that, and maybe something that President-elect Trump tapped into to march his way to victory.
Well, you know, the Elite 1% research we did for the Napolitan Institute grew out of all the other surveys I was doing. I kept noticing that people who had a postgraduate degree, people who lived in a densely populated urban area, and by that I mean Manhattan, not Salt Lake, people who made over $150,000 a year, had views that were wildly out of touch with the American people. And so I had a theory that if somebody had all three of those attributes, they might really view the world differently. And my logic was pretty simple. If you get a postgraduate degree and go to live in Manhattan, you might have different views than if you have a postgrad and go live somewhere else. And what we found was the numbers are very significant. Among the elite 1%, 47% believe the rest of us have too much individual freedom. And among the politically active segment of the elite 1%, 7 out of 10 of them think the rest of us have too much individual freedom. I could go on and on about differences, but it's really up and down the line. 3 out of 4 members of this elite group believe we should ban the private ownership of all guns. They think we should ban private air conditioning in the name of fighting climate change. And these views, ultimately, we all live in our own bubbles, and I think they prevented a lot of Democrats from recognizing how out of touch they were.
Yeah, and I think that misalignment, it seemed even the conversations about how the economy was doing or touting wins that the Biden administration had over the last 3 years were just not congruent with what the American people were feeling and sensing. And as you always point out in your research, that this elite 1%, they do have an outsized voice in a lot of different places, from business to media to government and institutions of government.
Yeah, they set the narrative. Half of the members of Fortune 500 boards went to one of the 12 elite schools that dominate this elite 1% group. But when you start talking about things like the economy, I think where the mistake the Democrats made there, they do have a very upscale, educated coalition, and for their world, the economy was doing well. There was no doubt that was the truth. But it's always bad when you're a communicator to tell your audience that they're stupid, which is in effect what they were doing. And one of the things that, I'm a data geek. Data isn't all, you have to measure the right things. I believe very firmly that the inflation statistics over the last 2 or 3 years have understated the amount of inflation because they didn't take into account enough the increased cost of rent and mortgages, which is a huge issue for a lot of people. So I think the country was actually in worse economic shape than the experts thought. They weren't seeing it because they weren't experiencing it. And then, Boyd, the final part is, if you're part of this elite 1% world, your week-to-week cash flow doesn't change all that much if the price of gas or groceries goes up. But half of America lives paycheck to paycheck. Most of their money goes to rent or car payments or other basic expenses of life. They have a limited amount of discretionary income, and when the price of gas goes up, they have less to spend on groceries. When the price of groceries goes up, they have less to spend on gas. It's a very serious issue, and I think sometimes if you're in the world and trying to convince people of things, and the data tells you one thing and they're telling you the opposite, you got to reevaluate the data.
Yeah, no question. And final, just 30 seconds, Scott. One thing you have been polling for a long time is one of the things that unites the nation when it comes to those founding ideals of freedom, equality, and self-governance. Give us a quick 30 seconds on that.
Yes, those founding ideals, freedom, equality, and self-governance are embraced by the overwhelming majority of Americans. Most people think they're worth fighting for. For most of my lifetime, the political right and conservatives have been identified with freedom, the left with equality, and quite frankly, in recent years, I don't think either side has been all that interested in self-governance. But the movement to go forward and create a unifying majority will be one that embraces both freedom and equality, and it will recognize the importance of self-governance, that our government derives its only just authority from the consent of the governed. I think we need to lift up those ideals. And Boyd, the reason it's so important and the reason we're having so much trouble these days, those ideals are rejected by the elite 1%. That is the fight of our time.
Great perspective. I always learn something new. Scott Rasmussen, best of the best, president of RMG Research, the Napolitan Institute. You should be following both of those. Scott, as always, thanks for making time for us. We always appreciate your insight and helping us think again about what we think we know. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Boyd.
All right, great perspective there from the great one, Scott Rasmussen. He got it right because he's in touch with the pulse of the American people. And so important, those founding ideals of freedom, equality, and self-government unite the nation, and the nation believes that that's the best way to overcome polarization. We'll step aside for a quick break. More Inside Sources coming up next.
From sun and near 60 this weekend.
And then a storm will get here late Monday into Tuesday.
To 47 and possible snow early next week.
Tuesday, cold front, rain, snow, showers.
Rely on KSL to forecast what's coming so you can keep moving.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
And now a minute of kindness brought to you by One Kind Act a Day. When Jessica Lowe was in culinary school, she was shocked to see how much food got thrown away at the end of each class. So one day after class, Jessica took some of the food that was left over at the end to a group of unhoused people who were staying on the street near the school. This small act of kindness sparked a transformation and a revolution inside Jessica first, and she became the founder of Be a Little Too Kind, a charity that brings food to the homeless. Each Wednesday, Jessica can be found in her kitchen, preparing over 120 hot meals and 120 sack lunches to hand out on Thursdays. And she usually brings an army of friends along the way. She provides a safe place and a warm meal for all of her homies, as she likes to call them. All of it started because she saw the need and then acted on an opportunity for one small act of kindness. Well, find out more about how you can be involved online. Check it out at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Don't be worried. Be ready.
KSL News Radio has partnered with Be Ready Utah to provide the plans your family needs for an emergency, the tools and supplies to keep on hand, and the knowledge on how to keep a cool head.
It's Be Ready Utah. Listen to our show, Dave and Duchanovic, for Be Ready tips and tools.
Or you can always find the latest preparation info at BeReadyUtah.gov.
Be Ready Utah with KSL News Radio.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Whitt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's tow cars. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
We've been telling you guys about how Master Electrical Services has joined Mountain Home Services, but you want to talk about one-stop shopping. Mountain Home Services has it all right now.
That's right. Not only do they do your electrical and your HVAC needs, but now let's add fireplaces to the mix.
I don't know anyone in the world that loves a fireplace, a gas fireplace like my mother. In the summer, she will fire it up. She loves it so much. And now Mountain Home Services can take care of all of this for you and pick out a beautiful fireplace for your house.
It all comes with their upfront pricing guarantee, which means there are no hidden fees and 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
And they will install. Mountain Home Services, this isn't going to be like some third party that comes into your house. You're going to get the same expertise that Mountain Home Services has always offered. Again, this is the company that we trust, and so can you.
Find them online at mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or give them a call at 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, many residents of Kaysville don't like the idea of opening a code blue warming center for people experiencing homelessness on cold nights. Second, Republicans leading in races already decided for the House of Representatives, but there are still enough outstanding that Democrats could still win the majority. And third, we're getting closer to kickoff for the U of U-BYU rivalry game. Students of the U are as excited as the ones at the Y. 47 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Get deeper insights on the news from Inside Sources.
Well, as we round out hour number 1 of Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio, we're doing a little look back in terms of some of the messages and some of the things that took place and what that means moving forward. Of course, as the 2024 election has ushered in, once again, a new era as those pendulums swing back and forth. It presents both challenges and opportunities for the media and the media landscape. So as President-elect Donald Trump reclaims the presidency, the longstanding tension between the former president and the establishment press now stands once again at another interesting crossroads. Journalists face a pivotal moment, and they need to look at their role, recalibrate their approach. And as I always say, the First Amendment does not belong to the president of either political party, nor does it belong to the press. It belongs to we the people. Jeffrey McCall is a media critic and professor of communication at DePaul University. He has a great piece in The Hill talking about the kinds of coverage and what the media can do to restore some trust and to help us all move forward. And Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's dive into this fantastic piece at The Hill. Again, people, you can read that at thehill.com today. And give us just a sense of kind of your lay of the land in terms of where we are. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a hostile relationship. There's always a tension between the press and the presidency. This has kind of gone to different levels. And give us a sense of where we are and what you hope comes next.
Yeah, you make a great point. It's been a very chilly relationship between Trump and the establishment media over the years. And I must say, a little bit of tension there is a good thing. We do want our independent press to hold the powerful accountable, and that includes, of course, the President of the United States. But I must say this, over the years, as I've observed media coverage of various White Houses, I think the media coverage of Trump has been probably more hostile than probably we've wanted it to be. And not to say that Trump can't be a controversial personality, and certainly Trump has asked for some of this antagonism himself because, he berates the press and he belittles them and talks about fake news a lot and that sort of thing. But on the other hand, the press still has a job to try to cover what's going on in the political world, and of course when Trump was already in the White House, to try to cover that information fairly rather than to go off on kind of activist media where the whole objective of covering the White House when Trump was there is to make sure he never got back there again. And of course, the crazy thing is Trump did get out of the White House, was out for 4 years, but now he's back. And it's been interesting to observe that for basically the better part of 9 years since Trump first started running for the presidency in 2015, he's faced a very antagonistic press. And one of the things I think we know now is that in spite of all the antagonistic press and the hostile media coverage, Trump has survived somehow.
Right.
And I don't know necessarily why that all is, but I think it shows to a large extent that the American news consumer doesn't necessarily rely on the mainstream media to provide guidance to it anymore. And they're not necessarily going to buy everything that the mainstream media is reporting. And so in that regard, the mainstream media's role in setting the national news agenda is being diminished. And we know that credibility in the media is in steep decline. There are surveys from Gallup and any number of different polling organizations that show that Americans around the country just don't trust the media very well. And that's one of the reasons I think that we saw both presidential candidates going to non-traditional sources to get their message out, because they were going to podcasters and social media sites and that sort of thing. But one of the claims I make in my piece in The Hill today, and thanks for referencing that, is that I really think the media, the mainstream media, needs to do some introspection here and think, okay, we've been battling with Trump for 9 years to try to keep him out of the White House. We failed twice now to do that. And I think their approach to covering Trump now needs to be altered and not so much focus on an objective of ruining his presidential prospects, because he's back in there now. And instead, they should maybe try to focus a little bit more on what Trump does legislatively. How does he manage world affairs? What are his policies? How is he going to work with Congress? And that sort of thing. And presumably in the next 4 years, we're not going to have more impeachments or trials or campaign rallies and that kind of stuff to cover. So I'm hoping that the news media will look out there, see the American public and say, we don't necessarily lead or herd citizens anymore. We should maybe try to inform them, which I think is really the ultimate objective of the free press anyway, is to inform the public, let them make their own decisions, and let's focus on policy and legislation and the management of the White House, and not so much the kind of theme that Trump is just a bad guy.
Yeah, getting out of the personality battles and getting to the principle and the policy stuff, I think, is where things really need to go. Great perspective, great piece in The Hill. Jeffrey McCall, again, media critic and professor of communication at DePaul University. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, you're welcome.
One of the things that the professor pointed out in his piece in The Hill that I want to kind of wrap up on, he said that the American free press was created to hold government's powerful leaders accountable, even at times serving an adversarial role. I think that's right. I think that's good. The challenge has been when we make it this personal battle back and forth, so it becomes more a battle of egos and agendas and personality issues than it does about where we're trying to go and what the public needs information on. Again, that's the role, to get that good transparency, accountability. And yes, it's okay for the free press to have an adversarial role, as long as they can remember that the First Amendment does not belong to the press, nor does it belong to the presidency. The First Amendment belongs to we the people. And so that's what we have to get back to. And I think the professor's absolutely right. If those in the traditional media, the longstanding media, if they continue to make this a personality battle or just a zero-sum game kind of battle with President-elect Trump, I don't think that is good for journalism. I don't think it's good for the country. And I don't think it advances any of the important conversations that lead to transparency and accountability for policy results. And as the professor pointed out, we need that on a wide range of things, whether it's tax policy, healthcare policy, immigration policy, and especially in our foreign policy that we're going to need to get to as we work our way through a tumultuous period of time coming up here over the next 4 years. Well, that wraps it up for us in hour number 1 of Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. We're going to step aside for some top-of-the-hour news, but don't go anywhere. Hour number 2, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to go to some of our favorite friends, past and present, who have taught me important lessons. Hopefully they've been teaching you as well. I'm going to get my pad and paper out to take some notes, because that's why I've always done this show, is to learn. We'll do it one more time for one more hour coming up next. Stay with us.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. 2 days until the UCCU rivalry game, number 9 BYU versus Utah on KSL News Radio.
It's 2 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. University of Utah students excited for tomorrow's rivalry game against BYU, but not all are optimistic the Utes can win it. U of U student Kellen Roper says there's a chance the U can pull it off.
Being realistic, I think we're probably going to lose, but I'm really hoping we win. I don't know, the season hasn't gone how we expected it to go, unfortunately. But I really hope we win. I think we can pull it off. Our defense is good enough.
Roper says regardless of the outcome, it will be close, and you can listen to Cougar Sports Saturday at noon and extended pregame coverage starting at 6 here on KSL News Radio. Kickoff set for 8:15. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Asheville, North Carolina marking a milestone today in its recovery from Hurricane Helene. An 11-mile section of the Blue Ridge Parkway is open again. Jay Jacoby says it's been tough not having that available.
The parkway is something that we use all the time.
The highway is popular with people coming to see the fall leaves. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average now up 259 points on the day. The NASDAQ is up 17 as we approach the close of trading. And our KSL weather looks like it's going to be cool today and not much warmer tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time 2:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Trail mix, beef jerky, mixing all the soda flavors at the gas station soda machine. Snacks are better on the road. The gas is better when it's top tier. And the pit stop is better when there's a dinosaur there. Love the filler moments at a Sinclair gas station near you with DinoCare, our top-tier gasoline. Some sweet and salty snacks for the commute, and a big green dino for the memories. Find a gas station near you at sinclairoil.com. Sinclair, fill up your life.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
It's Rivalry Week. Let KSL News Radio and Advanced Window Products get you ready for the big game at a special tailgate party. Join us this Friday from 3 to 6 at Chip Cookies in Fort Union. We'll be there with a special offer from Advanced Window Products. Factory direct affordable windows. Call today. They're on their way. Friday from 3 to 6 at Chip Cookies in Fort Union with Advanced Windows. And your home for the rivalry game. KSL News Radio.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down.
get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
Really quiet on the Valley freeways. No accidents, no delays. That does include I-15 both directions in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. We have had some busy traffic both north and southbound Mountain View corridor approaching the intersection at 3500 South. This holiday season, Murdoch Hyundai is grateful for you. Celebrate during the Murdoch Hyundai Season of Giving sales event. Receive 0% for 4 years on the Elantra, Sonata, Tucson, or Santa Fe. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Chilly again today, a high 42. Tomorrow, 53. A high of 61 expected on Monday. And right now, 46 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Well, it's time to go back to the beginning just a little bit with Inside Sources. When we began this grand adventure, we were committed to making sure we could divide the rage from the reason, elevate the conversation, connect the dots, and make the news make sense. We promised you that we would bring the best and brightest onto the airwaves here at KSL News Radio, and that we would take the Utah model to the nation's capital and beyond. And as always, it was about learning and getting into that think again moment of thinking again about what you think you know and being surprised, having a wow moment. Best phrase ever. I never thought of it that way. And so as we round out the last hour of the last show here on KSL News Radio, I want to go back to some of the conversations and some of the things that I have learned that were really important for me. I always have a pen and pad ready to go because I always learn from all of our guests, and we're going to do that for this entire hour. But we're going to go back to some of those best thinkers and those best thinkers. So it is time to think again. Let's begin.
Think you know the news of the day? Think again with Boyd Matheson on KSL News Radio.
Let's begin our final Think Again segment of the show. I can't get to everything, but I want to get to a couple because over the course of this program running, we've lost a few of our friends that have caused us to think again and who have provided such great insight. And that's where I want to begin. I want to start with the late Senator Joe Lieberman. I learned so many things. He became a great friend, a texting buddy, and someone I could always look to get to principle. Didn't always agree on the politics, didn't always agree on the policy, but I always knew that there was a path to have a conversation and to learn something new. Of course, Senator Lieberman passed away about a year ago, and the phrase that I learned from Senator Lieberman that I lean on and rely on every day is one he taught me about the integrity of compromise.
Integrity of compromise is actually a phrase that's not of my own making, but one of my heroes as a kid, Abraham Rubakoff, who was the governor of Connecticut, then became senator. 1954, and Democratic governor, Connecticut legislature has majority Republicans, and his opening speech, he titles The Integrity of Compromise, and he says, we can spend the next 2 years fighting each other along party lines, or we can sit down, talk to each other, compromise, and get something done for the people of Connecticut who elected both of us.
So the integrity of compromise is so often in our very harsh divisive, polarized political world. Again, I don't think the country is there. I just think our politicians hang out there way too often at the polls. And this idea that compromise is not a bad thing. In fact, there's integrity in compromise. When you come to the table with real intentions, positive intentions, good faith intentions, you have your own set of principles and your own ideas, and then you're willing to have a conversation and see where you can get. In this same conversation, again, it was one of the last before he passed away, Senator Joe Lieberman talked to us about how to get back to the spirit of the integrity of compromise in our country.
If they could do it in the Constitution, which created this very Congress in which we are privileged to serve, can't we get together and compromise on this big problem that America has now? So that's the essence of it. Look, our politics in America over history has been spirited. You go back to the earlier campaigns, certainly after Washington, because he was such a hero. They were feisty, and there was a lot of name-calling going back and forth. But generally speaking, over our history, after the elections, people found a way to get together in the center, and particularly when there was a real national challenge or crisis. And we've lost that now, and it's really hurting our country. It's why I spent so much time trying to, what I call, bring people back to the centrist solutions. But the key thing is, are you willing to come to the center when you have a disagreement, talk about it with mutual respect, think about compromises in the national interest, and then pass it and get something done for the country.
For the good of the country. And when we put country first, then we can approach those places of conflict with dignity across our differences, that dignity that leads us to understand each of our humanity. One of my favorite conversations of all time, one that I still go back and listen to all the time, shortly before he passed away, one of his last interviews that he did on this planet, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks from the United Kingdom. We had a deep dive conversation about the phenomenon of cultural climate change and his plea that we come together as humanity and community first, last, and always.
Well, I began to realize that an awful lot of things were going wrong with society. Isolation, loneliness, depression, social media and their impact on people's moods. You name it, whichever direction you look, it looks as if things are going wrong. So the kind of question I asked myself was simply this. When it comes to ordinary climate change, the end result can be of many different kinds. Extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme drought, extreme flooding, and so on. And of course, although all the phenomena are different, they are all symptoms of one and the same thing. So after several years of study, I suddenly realized that all these strange symptoms of disconnection and discontent that were happening to society were part of cultural climate change, something going wrong in the nature of the culture of the United States, United Kingdom, liberal democracies in the West. And it's really sad because, people have been encouraged to follow their own thing, their own bliss, whatever it is, and to live alone. But of course, when you live alone, the chances of depression are enormously raised. People reckon that living alone is the equivalent of obesity or 15 cigarettes a day. It's just a terrible thing to have happened. And I think we should try and reverse direction if we possibly can.
Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, he went on in that conversation to talk about the massive heat in that cultural climate change from our angry rhetoric, the divisiveness of all of that. He also talked about the Arctic frost of loneliness and isolation. And all of those can only be overcome as we learn to come together and that power of human connection. I want to go to another surprise guest. John Powell joined us on this program. He's a great teacher about this whole concept of othering and how we so often other people to put them into groups or tribes to make sure that we're on the good side and the other side is awful and horrible and maybe even evil. But he said we have to get back to the power of human connection if we're going to be having anything that moves us forward in terms of progression.
There's different ways of thinking about belonging. I start off by saying basically, and this is ripping off of the Declaration of Independence, is we hold these certain truths to be self-evident. Everybody belongs.
Yeah.
Everybody belongs. And I remind people that literally all of us was born attached to another person.
Mm.
It's not just a metaphor. We actually do belong to each other. We don't act like that sometimes. And as you said, we forget, sometimes we act like we're not only not our brothers and sisters' keeper, sometimes we act like we're not our brothers and sisters' brother and sister.
Mm.
And so I think a lot of the spiritual traditions, a lot of the moral traditions, and just common sense, since we're sharing this beautiful earth together. And the thing that makes human beings, by most evolutionary biologists' account, really special is not our big brains. Apparently, the Neanderthals had brains probably just as big, not our strength, not our size, but it's our ability to cooperate and tell stories. And so over the last couple of thousand years, we've been telling stories that are sometimes bridging stories, that we're all in this together, and sometimes breaking stories. Look out for that other guy. They're out to get you. They're out to steal from you. And I think we have to tell more bridging stories.
More bridging stories, more human connection, more recognizing the integrity of compromise and the principles that have made and preserved us a nation. That's always worth thinking again about. We're going to stay with this question and conversation because that is one of our governing principles, that we follow Albert Einstein, who said he wasn't smarter than anyone else. He was just willing to stay with the question a little bit longer. And so we're going to stay with the question a little bit longer in our final hour of the show here today on Inside Sources. And we're going to invite onto the show some live guests that have been great teachers for me. I have pen and pad ready to roll. So stay with us as we roll on Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio.
Think again on Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson. Polls are done. The hard work is finished. A nation divided settles its differences. The BYU-Utah rivalry game.
Touchdown, BYU!
This weekend, listen to Cougar Sports Saturday at noon and the BYU-Utah kickoff at 8:15 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
The election won't fix our record-breaking national debt. Today's tax rates are at 40-year lows, so many experts agree taxes must go up. And if you have money saved in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k, this could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes. But if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies before December 31st, you could save a small fortune. Discover exactly how much you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions in Salt Lake City, with more than 7,000 clients served. Schedule your free tax analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Getting ready for more rain and longer nights? We've got you. Right now, you can earn up to $25 in bonus rewards when you buy 2 Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs and 2 Rain-X Quantum Elite wiper blades. More rewards and better visibility at America's #1 lighting destination, AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Offer valid for AutoZone Rewards members. Restrictions apply.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. And 76, visit staples.com/print for details.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, students at the University of Utah are excited about tomorrow's rivalry game with BYU. Whether they expect to win is a different question. Second, the highway where people come to see fall leaves in North Carolina is open again now, a month after Hurricane Helene. And third, after a deadly gas explosion at a home in South Jordan, an emergency preparedness expert says you should just leave if you smell gas. 46 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Hear elevated conversation on crucial issues. Boyd Matheson on Inside Sources.
Well, as we get through the final chapter of Inside Sources and our chapter draws to a close in this season, the insiders who have guided us through some of the pivotal moments have come together for the last time. Their decades of collective experience and hard-earned wisdom offer invaluable perspective in the challenges and triumphs that have defined this era. These trusted voices share their parting reflections with us and some reminders of the power of persistence, principle, unwavering commitment that have shaped, informed, and informed me and engaged us in better conversations as we've been moving along. And so we've got a number of our friends who are going to jump on the line with us and give us one more chance. I've got my pad and paper and pen ready to go to learn, and really thrilled to have joining us for a quick 2-minute principle today, Rabbi Avremi Zippel. And Rabbi Zippel, thank you so much for giving us 2 minutes of something to think about today.
Thanks, Boyd. Thanks for having me. I got to be honest. I don't much care about your last day or your last show. I know that someone today needed to get on the KSL network and say, "Go Utes, baby!" And so I have signed up for this task. I
You
know
are the
that
winner.
There's some personal significance for you, but I've got to do it, Boyd. So go Utes.
Well
baby.
played.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. What an honor. What an opportunity to look back on some of the amazing conversations we've had over the years. And as you embark on this new journey, I think it's very fitting. This week's Torah portion that will be read in Jewish communities around the entire world discusses the idea of taking a journey. The Almighty says to our forefather Abraham, "Go forth and travel, leave everything behind and embark on a journey." And what's unique about the verse is that in discussing what he should leave behind, there's tremendous detail in the verse. Leave everything behind. But in terms of where he's going, there's not a lot of specificity. The Almighty just says, you start going and you'll end up in the place that I will show you. Not a lot of detail provided. And one of the ideas that's contained in this verse is that in the Jewish faith, and I think for people of all faiths, journeys are more about participating in the journey itself than getting to a specific destination. I think we go through life so often trying to get somewhere. We're in a hurry to get somewhere else, to be somewhere else. We feel stuck here and we need to get there. And sometimes in life, we just need to appreciate the fact that we're on the journey, the fact that we're even making the effort to embark and to leave everything else behind and just do the thing and go on the journey is something that is worth celebrating unto itself. And so happy trails to you, my friend. Embark on this next journey. Enjoy the journey, embrace the journey, and we'll all be cheering for you as you leave us behind.
All right, and we're gonna link arms and take that journey together. And as always, Remy Zippel, dear friend, great friend of the show, and a great thought leader in our community. Thanks so much for joining us today. Prophetic today.
Thanks,
Thank
bud.
you. All right, we're going to continue our march forward, and we're going to go to one of my other favorite thinkers and someone I always look to, especially when it comes to areas of mental health and how we approach our young people. Jenny Howe joins us on the line. And Jenny, I could write a book based on all the things that you've taught me. Give us something to think about today that maybe we're not thinking about.
You know, I've thought about it a little bit as I heard from you earlier today to be on. And I think, you know, for me, the greatest gift that you've given me is this ability to be able to have hard and honest conversations with everybody. You know, just because we think differently or have different values or have different beliefs doesn't mean that we can't sit down together and have hard conversations. And I'm grateful for that gift in your friendship and being able to teach me that and allowing me a voice to dissent and have that opinion on air with you. I think it's a lesson for all of us.
Yeah, one of the things that I have appreciated most in our conversations is this whole principle that you have shared with us, that sometimes we just need to be exposed to things that we might be fearful of or that we might be angry about or exasperated with. Just give us a quick snippet of how we can do that today.
Yeah, leaning into fear is really the only thing that gives us the opportunity to learn our values. You know, without the discomfort of fear, the risk that's attached to fear, we really don't know what we believe in. And I think that's probably the thing I teach people every single day is the thing I'm constantly relearning is how can I increase my embracing of fear in order to understand more of what I value.
So important. Jenny Howe, best of the best. Thank you so much for joining us today and for all that you have taught me over this journey. And we look forward to continuing that journey together as we march it all forward. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to jump now to our good friend Scott Howell. And Scott is a political mastermind and someone who always creates space to say, hey, where is that Joe Lieberman-esque integrity of compromise moment? And Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, Boyd, thank you so much. I'm a little bit, I don't know what to say because where will we be without Boyd Matheson on Inside Sources? I mean, every day you grace the airwaves, you make us question, can we ever survive without your relentless wisdom? And Boyd, you have the uncanny ability to take the most straightforward issue. You add layers of depth, sometimes more than we've even asked for. But you don't just give us the news. You deliver it with a level of insight that makes us all feel like we're slightly inadequate. But, Boyd, you are the voice of wisdom, integrity, insight, reason. And I just I so appreciate your thoughtful approach and deep commitment to finding common ground. You're a trusted guide in understanding when unity really is hard to find. And I just appreciate your ability to move, excuse me, partisanship, fostering an honest, crucial discussions, and your shared values of all citizens. You just don't talk about these values. You really embody them, and you show us the power of respect and discourse. And, you know, I was thinking about you're amazing. I never thought of anything that we would be teaching you, but if there was one lesson I've learned, and I'd leave you with this day on KSL. It's a lesson I learned from my Little League and Skyline High School football coach. My neighbor, Lowell Benyon, Gordon B. Hinckley, O.C. Tanner, and my dad. This lesson is really we must never, ever give up or give in, no matter the challenges we all face. Fear truly is the adversary's greatest tool, but it's our tenacity and faith that carry us through the hardest of times. And as a dedicated Blue Democrat, I've learned that lesson well, really well. Holding on to values and pushing forward, even when it feels uphill, is how we make it. Boyd, I know you've got a lot of people, but I just want to thank you for your unwavering dedication, your clarity of vision, your deep belief in the goodness of community of all mankind. We're better off, Boyd, by having you been on Inside Sources. You're a true example to us all. And we're going to miss you.
Scott, you're the best of the best, and so many important principles in there, and that tenacity, that resilience, and coming together, because we learn it all together. We do it all together as we link and lock arms. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today as well. We're going to step aside for some bottom-of-the-hour news, and we're going to stay with this conversation. We're going to have some more of our friends on to teach us one last time some timeless principles, some timely truths, and some things that will help all of us have hope and great confidence in what's to come. We'll be right back.
It's 2:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. University of Utah students are excited for tomorrow's rivalry game against BYU. Not many are optimistic, though, that the Utes will win. Kellen Roper says there is a chance the Utes can pull it off. You can listen to Cougar Sports Saturday at noon and extended pregame coverage starting at 6 here on KSL News Radio. Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson is once again criticizing mail-in ballots. He took to X to criticize both the lieutenant governor and state and city leaders, accusing them of encouraging the use of mail-in ballots. He says that effectively disenfranchises voters who didn't get their ballots postmarked in time. Davidson claims that if they hadn't pushed for it, 39 ballots without postmarks wouldn't have been left out of the count.
You know, Utah's one of the only states that does same-day registrations. Maybe we need to take a look at that.
And that sparked a reply from Senator Todd Weiler, who criticized Davidson's complaints, saying he had one job but still ran out of paper and ink. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. An American tourist who disappeared in Hungary has been found dead. Mackenzie Mikalski was 31. Another tourist, a man from Ireland, has been arrested in her murder. Authorities in Budapest say he's confessed and he led police to her body. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up now at the close of trading, 259 points today. The NASDAQ was up 17, the S&P 500 up 22. And our KSL weather, we've got sunshine today. We will tomorrow, too, but it'll still be chilly. That's next. KSL News Time, 2:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hi, my name is Kendon Holdaway, and I work for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Before that, I worked as a dialysis technician at the largest dialysis center in Utah. And before that, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease at age 14. However, I am one of the lucky ones. I have an amazing mother who gave me a second chance. She donated her kidney to me, and it changed my life. Thanks to her and a scholarship from the Kidney Foundation, I was able to graduate college, get married, and apply to medical school in hopes of becoming a doctor. Sadly, there are many who are not as lucky as I am. Every car you donate to towcars.org gives hope and help to 3,000 patients like me, many of whom are still waiting for their miracle. Towing is free and donations are tax deductible. Keep donations local by donating online at towkars.org. That's towcars with a K, like kidney.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh,
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offer some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money. So now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way, with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states says Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Enjoying a crash-free commute on the Valley freeways, but we already have a little bit of traffic building and slowing down. It's in Weber County, southbound I-15 between the I-84 junction in Riverdale down to 5600 South Roy. Bad weather and parking lots love GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah loves snow. Don't wait for bad weather. Schedule your snow removal service with GoPave. Visit gopave.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Chilly again today with a high of 42. Tomorrow will reach 53, a high of 61 expected on Monday. And right now we're at 48 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Well, we're marching our way down the home stretch on the final version of Inside Sources. And as we round it out, we've been turning to some of our favorite friends. I always talk about those that I learn the most from. Some are people that the first time I talked to them, I'd never met them, or I learned 1,000 things from them before we were ever in the same room together. One of those favorite friends is Galen Condi, an author, a speaker, a mental health advocate, and one of those extraordinary people in our community. And Galen, welcome to the final round of Inside Sources. And I know you have an important principle for us to be focused on, because I've got my pen and pad ready. So teach us one last time.
Well, I don't think it's fair that you or Scott got to talk before I did, so I'm going to try to put on the proverbial shelf some of my emotions that this is the last of the last few moments. But I am so grateful for your stewarding, and as I was thinking about what to share, I felt like that was the overarching way in which maybe we connected first, and the theme that I feel like serves me the most each day when I get caught in the weeds or start to feel heavy, that we're all called to be stewards. And some of us are called to steward in really micro spaces, like changing the same 100 diapers, or in macro spaces like you have done such a beautiful job of over the years on the radio and in television, maybe even in Congress. And when I start to see everything in my life, the joyful, the mundane, and the challenging as a stewardship, it really helps me kind of transform how I'm approaching something, especially when it comes to people I love, where I don't feel control and I don't know how to fix it, and it's complicated.
Such an important principle, and we're so grateful for all the things you have led us to, some of those crucial conversations, sometimes those uncomfortable conversations that are all part of getting us to the right place and space.
Well, and I would just say, for those that are traversing some really hard stewardships, the mental health stuff, the chronic illness, the loneliness, the financial, you and I share a love of West Wing and a particular story. I say, please keep stewarding over those spaces, because we need you to jump in the pit with us and help us find a way out. And so if you find yourself in that despondent place or that lonely place today, so often your show reaches people in that space, and it will be a void not having that. But we need your offering and we need your lens, and you have been a brilliant steward. You've had the crucial conversations in critical spaces, and you've been in the pit with me when I have felt stuck, and I just feel really honored to call you friend.
Thanks so much, my friend. Galen Condi joining us on the line. We're going to head north now. We'll go up to Jenny Taylor, one of our favorite inspiring, resilient friends that has taught us so many crucial lessons over the years. Jenny, I know this is a busy day for you in North Ogden as you have your 2 weeks of Veterans Day. Thanks so much for carving out some time. Give us one last principle that we ought to be thinking about as we round out Inside Sources today.
Oh, Boyd, I just have to echo what's already been said, that we are going to miss you, and there will be a giant void behind that microphone. But thank you for all your years and inspiring messages. And I think my last message here with you might be just one of coming together, focusing on what unites us more than what divides us. I know we've talked about that, what seems like ad nauseum, and just looking to try to see something from someone else's point of view and finding some common ground, even if you have to go back to something very basic, like we're all part of the human race. We at least have that in common, and we can start from there. So looking for the unity, finding that, and then building on that common ground rather than looking for those cracks to rip open even deeper and deeper.
Fantastic. And give us one last thought, give us a preview. I know we got big events happening tonight up in North Ogden. Just give us a sense of that, because I don't think that there's any way better to honor those that have gone before than living our lives with these kind of principles today.
Yeah, absolutely. We say that all the time. Thank you for your service, but I'd rather show that I'm grateful for that service by the life I'm living. So this weekend, we've got a Memorial Ruck March tomorrow morning, Saturday. The major flag is flying up in Coldwater Canyon in North Ogden, open to the public. It's a beautiful hike, 3 different levels of difficulty depending on your physical stamina. And then on Sunday afternoon, we want to invite everyone listening to North Ogden's Barker Park at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just a beautiful outdoor Veterans Day ceremony and programs featuring Sterling Polson, who, of course, is a weatherman, but also an Air Force veteran, coming together with old and young alike to bridge some of those gaps between ages, generations, ethnicities, all kinds of things, and that civilian to service member gap, so that we can not just say we're grateful, but find ways to show we're grateful through how we're living. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We best honor those who've been willing to give their lives for us by making something of honor out of the lives they have given to us. And that's just what we try to do every day.
Yeah, fantastic. Jenny Taylor, thank you so much as always. Good luck tonight and through the rest of the Veterans celebration. Thanks for inspiring us.
Thank you, and Godspeed.
All right, that's Jenny.
Take care.
Jenny Taylor joining us, and it is so true. We've referenced it even in the last week, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, and how much of that was focused not just on those that had given the last full measure of devotion, but the immediate pivot by Lincoln to us, that we be here so dedicated, that we here be highly resolved. And that's the way we do it. I also love the principle that Jenny has been teaching us about our veterans. Yes, thank them for their service, but don't be content with that. Go next level. Ask them about their service. Have them share something that they learned, a wow moment, a moment of pride or confidence, a moment that they had to overcome, and then go out and live the principles that you learned from our veterans. We're so grateful for that. Well, as we get to the point where we're going to bring our very last guest on the show, it is a guest that I have been learning from for over 36 years. It will be officially 36 years together coming up in December, and we were dated just a little bit before that, but not much. And very pleased to have join us as our last guest on Inside Sources, my one and only, Debbie Matheson. Debbie, welcome to the show. What principle do you have for us on this final round of Inside Sources?
Thank you, Boyd. My principle is stay in the point. And, you know, I love pickleball. And shout out to all my pickleball friends. But I have learned from them how to enjoy the game when I put into practice everything I've drilled and I've learned from watching and playing. Then with intention, I can focus on what's ahead of me. I don't look at who's coming into the facility to play. I look at what I'm doing with my paddle and my ball and my partner, and we're just focused on that very moment. getting the ball in a good spot over the net. And I've learned so many life principles from this game and from this one singular principle. Stay focused and be intentional about what I'm doing. Do it with love and kindness, and just enjoy the moment.
All right. Debbie Matheson. Doesn't get any better than that, folks. Now you know where my ultimate inside source is. It is Debbie and my family. And this kind of principle of being present. Nothing more holy we can give to another person than our whole presence, our entire presence. And staying in the point, staying on task is how we actually move forward together. Debbie, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Boyd. You're awesome. Love you, babe.
She always gets the last word, but we're going to take one last break, and then I get the last word on Inside Sources. Stay with us. When we come back, I will share some final thoughts and some final things for you to think again about as we round out this final episode of Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The election won't fix our record-breaking national debt. Today's tax rates are at 40-year lows, so many experts agree taxes must go up. And if you have money saved in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k, this could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes. But if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies before December 31st, you could save a small fortune. Discover exactly how much you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions in Salt Lake City, with more than 7,000 clients served. Schedule your free tax analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors.
In 2024, dating is a disaster. We've been ghosted, breadcrumbed, stuck in situationships. Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm Caitlin. Welcome to our new podcast, Dating at Her Age. Dating has been so dicey for us, we asked KSL, can we launch an all-new podcast about it?
People use these dating apps. You're not really dating when you're on the dating app.
Dating at Her Age, brought to you by Mountain Home Services. A new episode drops every Thursday on KSLNewsRadio.com.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
I juggle a lot. And managing constipation with belly pain from my irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, with laxatives and fiber isn't enough. My doctor recommended a way to get ahead of it. Then I said yes to Linzess.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favorites, but I'm your #1 customer.
Actually, we offer all our customers these ways to contact us.
Uh-huh. I'm sure you give just any customer your personal
company
contact info.
Well, you did call us more than any other customer this year. So in that sense, you are our #1 customer.
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. N76, visit staples.com/print for details.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Utah County Clerk blaming county commissioners and others for a batch of ballots that didn't get counted. Second, police in Hungary have arrested a man in the murder of an American tourist. And third, we're counting down to the BYU-Utah rivalry game tomorrow. Kickoff set for 8:15. 48 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Get deeper insights on the news from Inside Sources.
Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. It is great to be with you today, as always, and we're going to do it today for the last time as we round out an extraordinary season here on Inside Sources on KSL News Radio. And as we began this journey with KSL and our friends here at KSL News Radio, we really started with this whole idea that we were going to divide the rage from the reason. We were going to try to elevate the conversation. We were going to help you connect dots and make the news make sense. We were going to stay radically curious, that we were going to do things that mattered, that we were going to bring the best and brightest from around the planet onto these airwaves and into your car radio and into your home or wherever you're listening or participating. And it's been an extraordinary journey. I have learned so much. It's why I love this job. It's why it's been great to be with all of you in this incredible journey. And so as we get to the end of what has been a very tumultuous 2024 election season, we've finally got that in the rearview mirror. We're also coming to the close of another important season and a new beginning for all of us in many ways. And I just have to tell you what a gift it has been for me to join all of you for crucial conversations every day during the week, during my season here. I'm especially grateful to KSL News Radio, the owner, for this unique opportunity that has been based on principles, the principles that drive this organization, the vision they have. It's housed on the most powerful platform on the planet at KSL, and it's given space and place and time. They did it for someone who'd never been in journalism, someone who has zero media credentials at hosting a program. And I know that required an element of faith and trust and maybe even a little bit of pixie dust. But I'm so grateful for all of the amazing team here at KSL News Radio, producers, especially Shane and Lindsay, board operators like Corey, technicians, creators, operators, managers, talented people, but not just talented people, extraordinary souls. And it's all of their work that created space for you and me to share some really elevated dialogue with an amazing array of national and international leaders, thinkers, difference makers. We've had presidential candidates, we've had diplomats, we've had local difference makers, best-selling authors, researchers, world religious leaders. And we've put principles first in our chats because that's what we do. Because that's the only way we can really make sure we have impact and we can discuss things that will actually last and really make a difference. Our animating principles throughout this run and this journey have been radical curiosity. We talk about that every day. Intellectual humility, being willing to say, I don't know, or even more important, I was wrong. Or one of my favorite, I've never thought of it that way. Those wow moments are absolutely priceless. We've talked about earned empathy and how that may be one of the lacking principles that we have in our country and in our communities today, when we can look at people not just as liabilities to be managed, but as human beings with immense potential and divine identity. And that leads us to another important principle that we've used throughout this program, and that is dignity across our differences. A kind of dignity and respect that honors our shared humanity and, yes, our shared divinity. And my job has never, ever been to get you to think like me. My job has simply been to get you to think and then think again about what you think you know. And then my job is to get out of the way so that the power of the principles can take you on your own journey of discovery. That's the name of the game. And so as we get to a close, I want to share one last message, a personal message for our faithful listeners out there, because I think this is what it's really all about in the end. You know, in every stage and station of life, we come in contact with a wide array of people from vastly different backgrounds, different skills, unique perspectives. Some people come into your life for a brief season. Some come in for a particular reason. Some brush past you, and some come in and stay around for a lifetime. Those are the best. Just recognizing who's come into your life and the impact that even a stranger and a passing conversation can have will enable you to maximize all your relationships. It's so easy to get caught up in the end game of relationships, that Hollywood happily ever after ending or best friends forever. And yet in a relationship, whether it's with a wise mentor, a good buddy, a trusted colleague, even a beloved child, there are times for change and transition. And yes, there are even earthly endings. You all know my belief that life and work are seasonal things. And the past 6 years for me, as part of both Deseret News and KSL, have been a season of great challenges, great transition, and ultimately transformation. It's also been a season for each of you in your homes, in your families and neighborhoods, your businesses, and in our community. The world has changed, and hopefully so have we. You need to know that you have made a difference for me in important and powerful ways. I'm thankful to each of you for tuning in, for reading, for following our efforts. I'm grateful and find peace in knowing that part of you will come with me in the new season ahead. I'm grateful for those who have reached out and those who have leaned in to our conversations. Relationships are more important than transactions. They're more important than empire building or ladder climbing. Relationships are really all we have in the end. The people you meet, whether a lifelong friend, casual acquaintance, or one-time connection, all can have profound impact on who you are and where you're going. If you care enough to foster the personal portion of a personal relationship. So my last ask of you is to make time to establish and extend meaningful relationships. Here's one of my favorite thoughts of all favorite thoughts from Larry Chengis that really encapsulates my feeling for each of you and for all of you. Every moment we are together, I'm learning something, and that knowledge becomes a permanent part of me. Though my feelings will be different a year from now or 10 years from now, part of the difference in my life is you. Because of you, I am a different person. And the person I will grow to become, with or without you by my side, will have gotten there partly because of you. If you were not in my life right now, I could not be who I am right now, nor would I be growing in exactly the same way. Much of what I grow toward and change within myself has to do with what I respond to in you and what I learn from you every day. Also, what I understand about myself and what I learn about my feelings comes through the dynamics of our relationship. Because of that, I do not worry about our future together. Since we've already touched each other and affected each other's lives on so many levels that we can never be totally removed from each other's thoughts. A part of me will always be you, and a part of you will always be me. That much is certain, no matter what else happens. Well, I believe this country that we call America has been forged and tested as an alloy. That galvanizing of unique and rugged individuals bound together in the bonds of freedom is a grand experiment in covenant relationships. And we can never allow ourselves to see our fellow citizens and fellow travelers as transactions or annoyances or liabilities to be managed. American relationships are a part of you, part of me kind of connection. So thanks to all of you, to each of you. You will always be part of me. My prayer is always that you'll be blessed with success and happiness and curious, principle-centered conversations in every season ahead. Our country and our communities need each other. They need each of us and all of us to resist the urge to give up or give in. And I'm telling you, my friends, we cannot throw up our hands when what we really need is to roll up our sleeves and engage once again as neighbors and friends. As Lincoln proclaimed it, with malice towards none and charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. Yes, a part of me will always be you, and a part of you will always be me. That much is certain, no matter what else happens. And so for the last time, thanks for joining us on Inside Sources. I'm Boyd Matheson. And as always, as you go out into the world, make sure you see something that inspires, say something that uplifts, and please, oh please, do something that makes a difference. Thanks to all of you. We're out.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Well, hang on. Before we get started, Boyd, I'm going to miss you. I am grateful for the season we spent together. Not just professionally, but personally, you've had a profound impact on my life, and I thank you for the opportunity to work with you. Now then, I have to say something. It's 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. Jeff Kaplan here. It's 48 degrees, KSL's top story. Rivalry weekend. BYU students are waiting for tomorrow night. This time, not tentative about it at all. They're expecting a win against the Utes tomorrow. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr was on campus.
The last time BYU won at Rice-Eccles Stadium was in 2006, but BYU students like Hallie Crum aren't too worried.
Ew, we'll blow them out of the water.
While Hallie expects a blowout, Rachel Leifson says she would actually prefer to see a more competitive game.
I kind of hope it's going to be a close game. It always makes it a little more exciting.
Kickoff is at 8:15, and you can catch it here on KSL News Radio. Reporting from the home of the Cougars in Provo, Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
Yes, BYU is favored, but you students might be quick to point out you got to play the game to get to the final score. U student Liam Roston says this game's a chance for both teams to prove they belong in the Big 12.
Tomorrow, I'm hoping for a really intense rivalry match and to be able to showcase it to the rest of the Big 12 and let them know that both BYU and Utah are new teams, but we are here to stay in the Big 12.
Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. tomorrow. You can listen to Cougar Sports Saturday at noon. We have extended pregame coverage at 6 leading up to the game right here on KSL News Radio. This weekend's big game also serves as Military Appreciation Night at the University of Utah. The director of the U's Veteran Support Center, Fa Tao Pao, says